Red Flags of Emotional Repression, Part 35, Contempt Prior to Investigation. So I've had a couple people recently who are somewhat interested in our work in KI, but have had qualms about it and said things like, well, it's sort of reductionist, isn't it? Tying everything to emotional repression seems too easy. Our problems are more complicated than that. It's sort of like calling everything ego. So I said to the first person who brought this up, who's been struggling with an inability to trust themselves or other people, what I say to everyone who's starting out in the work, which is check your body, right? Check your body and see if you can tie your trust issues to buried emotions. And you might find that the very objections that you're raising to the work are a function of the emotional repression mechanism. To which they responded, ironically, no, I think I'm going to trust myself on this one. I don't think KI is for me. And I said, of course, totally cool. I understand. I used to have a little pull to try to convince people of the efficacy of the work, but the more I've come out of emotional repression, the more I've seen how unhelpful that is, right? It's like trying to convince an alcoholic who's not done drinking yet to quit drinking. People really have to come to this on their own. So anyhow, the second person who had their doubts and who was struggling with like depression-like symptoms decided that they were open to checking the body. So I had them say this, which is what we call a reverse inquiry in KI. It's okay to trust that KI will work for me. And immediately their body reacted with a contraction. Inside that contraction, which was in their stomach, was a program that had been running in their body since childhood saying, I can't trust people. I can't trust people because if I do, I might have to acknowledge, access, feel, and express my buried, repressed anger. The same buried and repressed anger that had been driving their depression and their trust issues since they were a kid. And that's in 2 steps, right? 1 question, 2 steps. The body keeps the score. And so if the emotional repression mechanism in the body hasn't caused us enough suffering yet, it will keep us in a state of contempt prior to investigation. It will keep us arguing for our own limitations and defending our own suffering because it's safe. And that's also totally fine. It's just good to have this context so you know what's happening to you when it's happening. So if you're in a state of mistrust or doubt in yourself and or other people, just know that that state and the beliefs that it's producing is happening to protect you from accessing the root of suffering. In other words, it's keeping you from even seeing, let alone resolving your emotional repression, and ending your suffering. Which is just further evidence of what I know that I repeatedly say over and over again in these videos, which is that it's safer to suffer than it is to end suffering. If you'd like to investigate this, come work with me one-on-one. The link is in the caption or the bio.